Unless the lights burned out.
You feel it's like so like, and then he sat down, it's like, boom.
On air.
There we go. Okay, we're back from closed session here for the administration committee, and we're gonna now take action or talk about item number 4, a communication outlining the recruitment process and timeline for the new city administrator. Richard, you taking this?
Oh.
Yeah.
What's your plan?
It's our plan.
What's your sheet back?
No. You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was waiting for this big start.
Okay, so, we put together a plan, the timeline based on policy 404, which is a policy outlining hiring department heads and the city administrator. So once you approve this process, I can have no involvement in it according to the policies and procedures. So if there's any desire, that would have to get changed. Not that I'm trying to insert myself, but anyways. So tonight we're consulting with you, then we already have the job description that we're looking over, but we're putting together a pamphlet that we would use, and then other posting materials. Then we'll be approving those next week, and then posting to professional networks, job boards, and social media, and I can get into that after this. Then if there's a desire to do community and employee feedback, you could probably do like a survey, an online survey where people could anonymously provide what they don't want, mostly, instead of what they do want.
Would we have one for employees that would be a verifiable, so we know they're an actual employee, and one for residents or citizens?
You could definitely do that, because the way that our system is set up, you can set it for West Allis employees only, or people in the same domain only.
Okay.
Yeah, so that could be something. So I just put that as optional, but I know that it might be a good idea to just do.
Mr. Chair, I would be for sending it to internal staff, but not community.
I agree with that.
I think sometimes there might be a misunderstanding, like, for example, my position that I'm going to in Oshkosh, it's a manager position, this is an administrator position, so the mayor's really the face
Right.
here.
Right, so people, we might have a lot of data, useless data.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that.
Then proposing a March 2nd application deadline, so that seems like a long time, but it gives people time, but I also, as part of the application, you might want to have people answer a few questions that they actually have to invest some time in, otherwise you're gonna get
Inundated.
250 applications, more than 2/3 that aren't qualified. Then the process is the HR director would, or in this case, it would be Richard, and at least one outside expert screen the applications to see if they meet the qualifications, or if there's, if they're close, if they should move on to the next, and then there's a first interview.
What's considered an outside expert?
So for like the city attorneys, we had another city attorney sit on
okay.
the panel or review. For Richard, had our benefit consultant help with that.
So do we ask an administrator from one of our neighboring cities, another community here to help, or?
You could, like TOSA or something
Yeah.
like that. And then the next is
Interesting.
first round interviews, so that's usually HR director, mayor, council president, and then you can have a group of outside experts or executive service employees. I would suggest that maybe you have the first few, and then you have a separate one for with the department heads, because like when I went through it, it seemed like they picked who they thought were the most important department heads to be on the panel, and it really, in my opinion, should be everybody, but, and then you can see if someone can handle 18 people looking at them. So, then they select another group to go on to the next, and then second interviews are done, and then you could include assessments. I don't know, like if you want them to put together a presentation or something like that, just to, people say a lot of things, but you need to actually see them. And one of the other things too is when, with the initial application, you could have them submit a writing sample or presentation or something to show what they have. What did you have to do, FMLA?
I had to do a presentation on how to administer FMLA.
Because I wanted to know, so we just,
So you farmed it out to the new guy? Yeah.
that was part of the interview process, so,
It's a double win.
yeah.
So was that something that all the applicants had to do? In Richard's case?
Yeah,
So we'd have, if we did something, we'd give them some sort of homework, all of them do the same thing, and then we just kind of,
And we did that with the marketing too, right?
right.
Yep.
Yeah, and then once they select a number, then there's a third interview with the administration committee, and then you announce the finalist, and then you go through the appointment and do the background and, or extend the job offer, and then do the employment agreement, so. Conservatively, probably looking at towards the end of July, but that's probably ambitious. So probably September, somewhere between July and September.
Mr. Chair?
Alderperson Keene.
So would your recommendation be for a presentation, but after we approve this, you can't have any insight of what that presentation could potentially,
Unless we change the
The policy.
policy 404. I thought
Because
404 was an error.
I don't feel like, you're obviously not leaving on bad terms. You want the best for the city, and you have the most knowledge of what you do
Yeah.
and who would be a potential candidate. And I feel your insight is very important there. So you potentially helping and working with Richard for you guys to come up with what would be a good measure for a presentation or something for them to input, and then also, okay, this is what the input, this is kind of what we're looking for, and then we know what our baseline is to base off of what they submitted to then determine, okay, yeah, this is a valuable candidate, and they should move on with the interview process. I personally feel would be beneficial.
I'm going to agree with Alderperson Keene.
Agreed.
Yep, kind of a consensus, yeah.
So do we need to change
Policy
the
change.
404?
The next
Yeah,
council
let's
meeting?
change
Oh, you can just change the policy, or
it. The next meeting, we'll put together.
have something for the next meeting? Okay.
I appreciate
Be nice
that.
if you would just said, I have one here.
As long as you feel like
Well,
you're
just
not
so.
putting something extra on
As long
you
as
and
you're
it's
okay with it.
Crazy time for you.
No, I'm okay with putting that on you.
Well,
I want to take every bit that we can from you before you go. I'm not even feeling bad about it.
Phone number.
I feel like I want to leave the city in a good place.
Right.
I feel compelled, and I'm willing to do that, yeah. Once I get in my new position, I'll probably not be,
Yes. We understand that.
You get that.
We do understand that, but it helps to set up,
Yeah.
the stepping stones to where we go.
Give us the benchmarks.
Yeah.
so the job boards, there's numerous ones. I think it might be a good idea to just basically focus on the Wisconsin ones because of the fiscal challenges in Wisconsin. And then the International City and County Managers Association, if we put it in there, pretty much everyone.
anybody looking will find it there.
Yeah. And then government jobs, that's number 13, we automatically have that already, so. But if you're all right with it, we'll focus mostly on the Wisconsin ones. Alternatively, you can hire a firm to recruit.
Sure.
And that would be probably starting at like $25,000.
And it'd probably take longer, I'm gonna guess.
I don't know, I think I'd rather be able to offer that to a qualified person rather than have to
I think we're big
extend
enough that
ourselves.
we have the, that might be something a small community needs to do because they don't have the staff to work through all.
Or the knowledge, the HR knowledge.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I may, I think we get to that point if we go through an entire process and we can't
Fail.
find a candidate, and they're doing something wrong,
No.
then we bring in a headhunter consultant.
I was just going to say, there are some administrators I know across the state that I would be scared if they applied, so I think kind of echoing on what Kevin said,
Can we get that short list before we go through?
I would be, oh, we didn't get that application. So sorry.
Whoops.
Okay, we have, anything else on item 4 here? Anything further to come before us?
Item 5.
Number 5, good thing I turned the page over. Resolution relating to the reorganization of the Human Resources Department and the City Admin's Office, the addition of a Human Resources Generalist position.
Move approval. Second.
Is there a second?
Yep, Patty
Second.
seconded.
Any further discussion?
It's on the consent agenda.
Okay. Any further discussion? It's a resolution, so we don't need a roll
It'll
call.
be on, because this hasn't been introduced to council, you're really just talking
Oh,
about.
okay, so we don't need to do anything with it? Okay. Okay.
No, it's fine.
So no, so do we need to act on it?
You'll act on it
And-
at the council.
Consent agenda.
Then I won't act on it. Nothing further, nothing further to come before this committee?
Motion to approve, or, adjourn.
We're all rested.
Second,
That one.
second, I'll second.
Second, yeah,
All in favor, we are adjourned.
Motion to approve adjournment. To approve adjournment. Way to go, Dana.
At least you know what you're getting into.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to call the January 14th meeting of the Common Council to order, and I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Novak.
Aye.
Noling.
Here.
Rote.
Here.
Turner.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Grisham. Here. Grove.
Here.
Haas.
Here.
Halverson.
Here.
Keen.
Here.
10 present.
We have a quorum. Our pledge this evening will be led by Alderperson Novak. Please rise if you are able. After the pledge, I'm going to ask for a brief moment of silence just to recognize the victims of the wildfires in California. Thanks. Thank you. We'll move right to Part D of our agenda, public hearings and presentations. First up, I would like to invite up the representatives from the Rotary and the Knights of Columbus for a presentation. As they walk up, briefly explain why they're walking up. You can come back here if you want, or do you want to speak from there? It's your call. Okay, sounds good. These two organizations contributed money for a park, a pocket park on 65th, 66th, and Beloit. And I can speak, I believe, safely for the council here that we are very big fans of public-private partnerships, so we're very appreciative of your efforts. And I will turn the microphone over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, distinguished members of the council. I'm Steve Affelt, the acting president of the Rotary Club of West Dallas. I have with me tonight Bill Barris.
Bill Barris, Grand Knight at West Dallas Knights of Columbus.
And speaking of partnerships, the Rotary and the Grand Knight and the Knights of Columbus of West Dallas have often worked on projects together, and this is just another example of that. We are pleased tonight to present a check to the city of West Dallas for the cost of the park that we have donated, and it's going to include the cost of the plaque, which I understand has been ordered but not yet arrived. So we have a check to present, and Bill, I'll let you do the honors of announcing the amount.
Yep. Little over $14,239 for the park.
Thank you, and I look forward to other opportunities that we can work with both the city and the Knights. Thanks, Bill.
Yep, thanks.
And Mr. Mayor, would you like me to give you the check at this point?
I think that seems appropriate.
Okay.
If I could just take 2 minutes, our Knights of Columbus, we've been around for 75 years. We used to have the building on 92nd Street that we sold, and I think it's a win-win-win that we've had. Christian Hansen has expanded. It's great for them, more employees, the tax base for the city, and actually with the funds that we received from the building, we have a pretty good nest egg, and we've been blessed to actually help lots of people in need. And over the last 6 years, we've given over $250,000, whether it be police department, West Dallas, West Milwaukee School District, other community, Mary Queen of Saints School. So we're really tied in with the city. We love it here. And as Steve mentioned, if there are other ways that we can help going forward, we'd really like to be able to help. Lots of our members have been either mayors, my dad, police chief. I had a grandfather who was an alderperson when this building was built. So it's a pretty nice history that we have with you, and we'd like to do more going forward.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, then we will move right on to public hearing number 2, and I'll ask the clerk to read out the item.
Resolution to confirm and adopt the report of the city engineer containing the schedule of proposed assessments for improvement of various streets by concrete reconstruction.
Thank you, and I'll turn it over to Melinda Diesky.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. My name is Melinda Diesky, and I'm the city engineer for the city of West Allis. Tonight, we are here for the public hearing for the reconstruction of 2 streets in the city of West Allis, South 53rd Street from West Burnham to West Rogers, and West Rogers Street from South 53rd to the dead end to the east. These roads are on our schedule because of infrastructure, and it's also the location where the new DPW is going up. The procedures for tonight's public hearing is we'll discuss the project scope and the cost, the different assessment rates and payment methods. We'll take comments and questions from the Common Council and then the citizens affected. The public hearing then is closed, and it's referred to the Public Works Committee for discussion and vote, and then the final decision comes back to the Common Council tonight. So how is these roads chosen for reconstruction or resurface? So in the state of Wisconsin, the state requires that the city reports the rating of our roads every 2 years. The scale is from 1 to 10, 10 being the best and 1 being the worst. Since 2010, the share of roads in excellent condition statewide has fallen to by 9.5%. Conversely, the roads in poor condition or very poor condition have increased by 2.7% statewide. And in West Allis, we have 1/5 of our roads in poor or very poor condition. South 53rd and West Rogers are both rated a 3, which is at the bottom end of that scale. And West Allis has 183 miles of roads. Concrete roads have an approximate lifespan of 50 years. To maintain our infrastructure, West Allis needs to reconstruct approximately 3.6 miles of road every year. This year, we're doing approximately 1.34 miles. These are some images of West Rogers Street looking east towards the dead end where the transfer station used to be. And this is South 53rd looking north. This building is in West Milwaukee. This is the new DPW site. You can see there's severe deterioration in the roadway. Not only is it the pavement surface that's in need of reconstruction, but underneath the road we have infrastructure, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, and water main pipes. Our water main pipes in this area are from the 1910s, so they're 110 years old. We will be putting in a new copper or HDPE water services when we do this for the public side, and if we discover that there's still lead on the private side, we will also work on those. The new storm sewer laterals and storm sewer will be installed. The storm sewer is about 80 years old, and the new sanitary sewer and laterals will be installed to properties, and that is also from the 1910s, so it is also around 110 years old. So we need to replace those, and when you replace those, it takes up so much of the pavement that you end up having to also repave the street because of the infrastructure replacements. The approximate cost for the project for Rogers Street is $496,000. You can see it broken out for pavement in the different infrastructure. And then for 53rd Street, where it's a little longer street, it's $1.3 million. Here's a breakdown of the different funding sources used on the project. You can see that the total cost of both streets is $1.8 million. $140,000 of that comes from the special assessments. And we also use $370,000 will come from our stormwater utility, $285,000 from our water utility, $800,000 from the sanitary utility, and then the balance comes out of citywide property taxes. Here's an example of the costs and special assessments that went out to the property owners for this project. You can see that the assessment rate is higher than a residential rate. The property owner's cost is approximately, for example, one bill was $52,000 plus cost per square foot of driveway. There is a 5-year or a 10-year installment plan that people can choose. There is a 4% interest if you do choose a payment plan, and that 4% interest just covers the city debt. It's not intended to make a profit. It's just to cover the cost of building the road. Special assessments have been used for over 110 years in the city and in the state. The city collects $140,000 in special assessments, which is less than 8% of the total cost of the project. As we reviewed, the assessment rate for the commercial properties and industrial properties are $87 and $104. But it doesn't matter how wide the street is, how high the traffic volumes are, or what the actual bid prices are. Every property in the city is treated equally. And special assessments have been upheld in the state for well over 110 years. One of the main reasons for using special assessments is so that tax exempt properties also pay their share if they don't pay into the general tax base. If you specially assess a road project, then those properties that are tax exempt have to pay. So churches, hospitals, schools, even the city has to pay. So Milwaukee County, all those type of entities have to pay. And so they contribute their fair share for their use of the road. This is an example of the schedule that we'll go through in the spring. We will be bidding out this project if it's approved, and then some construction will occur in late spring, during the summer, and into fall. And then we will provide notices with a schedule on what happens and how to get a hold of city staff if the project goes forward to all the property owners on the project. We also have a construction in progress report that property owners can sign up for if they want to know week-to-week status of the construction project. We update that, like I said, every week.
I'm sorry, Melinda, I think your microphone turned off.
Sorry?
Thanks.
Thank you. The signing up for the construction in progress report is a great way to stay up to date on what's going on in the project. We provide a fairly detailed summary of what's going on there. So, and with that, I conclude my presentation.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments from the council on public hearing number 2?
Mayor Devine.
Alderwoman Keene.
Melinda, for the construction on Rogers, how does the correlate of that project completion tie into the DPW facilities?
We have worked it out so that the road will be done before the building opens.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council? Seeing none, are there any questions or comments from the members of the audience on public hearing number 2? All right, seeing none, we will close our second public hearing, and I will ask the clerk to read the text for public hearing number 3.
Conditional use permit for the Emerald, a proposed event space, 5,000 or more square feet at 7546 West Greenfield.
Thank you very much, and I will turn it over to staff. Mr. Scher.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the Emerald Event Space proposed at 7546 Greenfield Avenue. And over the years, it's been a number of different things. The building is 100 years old, and in 1924 it was constructed where it stands right now, and was the Ford dealership with some service. And then moving on into the 40s, it was a Kohl's Brothers retail store. And then you may recall more recently in the 70s, and then into the more recent time, 2007, it was Owl Imports. Took on a Swissfication of the building in that year. And then more recent times in the 2000s, we were looking at different variety stores and furniture stores. And that was all purchased in the last quarter, last year by Walter Holtz, who was the owner of the Deco. And he has a proposal this evening that we're going to share his presentation about what he hopes to bring to West Allis in the 100-year-old building across the street from us. And that is an event space with a considerable amount of investment to that building. The reason why we're here tonight, the conditional use does require, for buildings over 5,000 square feet, an endeavor to become a event space. It does require a conditional use permit, and then necessitates the purpose of this public hearing. This has been before the city's planning commission for site landscaping review. The overall building is about 20,000 square feet in total. The usable part of it that's going to be used for event space is about 14,000, about 10,000 square feet on the main street level floor, and another 4,000 or so square feet on the lower level. There is a Class B license pending on this evening's council agenda as well. The property is Zone C1 Central Business District, downtown West Allis, and they hope to be open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 2:30 in the morning, licensed hours operation. And they hope to open June of 25. So just going over some of the floor plans, the entry to the building, there'll be a couple entries off of Greenfield Avenue here. That's on the bottom side of the screen here on the floor plan. One to the main, like a ceremony area. The ceremony area would hold roughly about 190 seats, as shown here on this floor plan. It would also have a flexible space where it could be opened up. There would be a curtain wall separator between that ceremony area and the main banquet area. So it could be opened or closed depending on the need and the use. There would also be a main banquet area, a dance floor, and towards the rear of the building or the north side of the building, a food prep kitchen area, and then bar and restrooms over on the east side of the building. On the exterior, we'll get into the site plan next, but the building is pretty much the site. There is a little bit of space outside for a small patio area, as well as a ramp area, offering another ingress, egress to the building on the west side of the building along 76th Street. And then furthermore, there's staircases on the back side of the building that do offer exiting to the north, and there is a lift within the building too for heavier freight things, is how it was designed. And then the lower level, just additional restrooms, a men and ladies lounge area, and some mechanical rooms. This is a view of the street level, the main level, a rendered view of how it could look like on the inside once complete. And then the lower level, again featuring the women and men's lounge area, dressing rooms, restrooms, and a main lobby area. The rest of it is storage, staircases, corridors, back of house type of operations. And the site plan's pretty simple, the new ramp and a patio area on the site. Everything else is pretty much building. The refuse container is going to continue as proposed within the alley right away behind the building. And it's been that way for years, and going back to Owl Imports. And it is, I guess, with the condition that it is movable and up against the building as tight as possible, so as not to obstruct traffic flow, is the main condition as put from our city's planning commission. And then just the view of the overall site. We're here in this building here at City Hall. Across the street is the location that we're talking about, and there's a considerable amount of municipal parking within the area. If you take a look at the overall sort of grand scheme within a 5 minute walk, you've got, in terms of street parking, there's 63 parking stalls along Greenfield Avenue. And this is the yellow stripes that you see here. We went out to about 70, looks like about 79th Street to the west, and then over to about 72nd Street on the east along Greenfield Avenue at 63 parking stalls. The off-street parking is highlighted here in the pink. There's within a 5 minute walk about 273 parking stalls. If you don't want to walk 5 minutes and you want to walk maybe 2 minutes, there's 168 parking stalls, off-street parking. But the grand total of street parking as well as off-street parking within 5 minute area is 336 parking stalls. Of course, not everyone drives to events, whether it's a wedding or a corporate event or a birthday party. There are other options such as rideshare, the Uber or Lyft. And if you're staying at a hotel, the Home to Suites or the Hampton Inn, the Holiday Inn, I know the Hampton Inn does offer a hotel shuttle. So there are other ways of getting here and conducting events. It's not all about where do I park, and not everyone drives to these events. So the architecture, getting back to the historical roots of that stepped roof design. The current furniture store that's across the street from us now has one sort of continuous roof line along Greenfield Avenue, and that's going to be, renovated and returned back to a step design, back to its historical origin, which is good. And then there's also a considerable amount of new windows being added. The existing windows along Greenfield Avenue will all be replaced and restored with new storefront glass. And then along the 76th Street elevation, on this west side of the building, the windows will be punched in to that west elevation for allowing natural light in to the west side of the, and into the interior of the building. Otherwise, there's going to be quite a bit of, repair of existing exteriors, green accent banding and awnings, some overhanging the sidewalk areas, and then hanging planters and other decorative lighting on the exterior of the building. And then continuing along the side, again, just the major changes here on the west side facing 76, so that new ramp, the patio area, the new windows, and then there's a space here that's highlighted for a potential future art installation, like a mural or something like that, on the corner of that building. So I know on social media, and I've received some questions too about another event space. How many do we need? And it's really, the market is really driving the demand for event spaces within our market. When you think about it, West Allis is centrally located. We like to say we're 15 minutes from anywhere. Waukesha County, the lakefront, we're right there. So we're very competitively, we offer a value proposition in terms of our location, and I think Walter is offering a value proposition in terms of the cost and affordability of the venues. That all translates to a regional draw to our city, and that's good for the economy. It's a major investment within the downtown West Allis area, and what's good for local business here is also good for our city, our neighborhoods, and our region. So it's a positive thing overall for West Allis. And then Plan Commission has recommended approval. This has been published in the local official paper, and then the neighborhood within 200 feet has been notified of this public hearing, and no objections have been received by planning to date. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, Mr. Scher. Are there any questions from the members of the Common Council?
Mayor Devine.
You guys can figure that one out.
I just got a quick question. What's the proposed capacity for this event space?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I didn't mention that. So the plans indicate 299 people at maximum occupancy. Mr. Holtz is here this evening, but in speaking with him, it sounds like sort of the sweet spot for a lot of the corporate events and weddings and so on is usually in the 150 to 200 range. But 299 is the maximum occupancy.
Thank you. Alderwoman Grisham.
Steve, thank you for the presentation. It looks like a really nice project going forward. I have one question regarding the hours of operation. Is this in line to most of our other event spaces, that it goes till 2:30 in the morning?
That's, I think that corresponds with their license application, and I believe so. I think they're just looking to maximize, based on the state Class B licensing to manage that, in accordance with the state law, closing hours. Now, certainly could close sooner, but I do believe it is consistent.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel.
Steve, or if Mr. Holtz is here, do we have an idea how many jobs, part-time, full-time, are going to be involved in this endeavor?
I would certainly can find that out for you, or maybe Mr. Holtz can come up and share that during public comment.
Okay, and I wasn't at the Plan Commission meeting. I guess the parking is my concern. I was looking at the Plan Commission documentation, and in the 2-minute walk radius, it included 41 parking spaces that you don't have on the map there, but I think you're still including in your...
I took it off.
Yeah, I see that.
The
yeah.
41 was that's the, is that, I believe, the area that we used, the post office and the Noble. Yeah. So I took that off, and then this new accounts for that reduction of that 41 stalls.
And the map also incorrectly identified some of the parking spaces over here as public. The parking lot directly behind City Hall is reserved for City Hall use. The parking lots just to the east of us there's 2 rows of public parking where the bike station is, and then the rest of that parking lot is all actually designated for city hall use also. And clearly, it doesn't get used a lot on weekend nights and all that, but the Plan Commission did have a recommendation that some sort of agreement be made between the operator and city government for use of the city hall parking lot. Has anything happened on that?
An agreement certainly could be made, but isn't necessarily needed. You know, certainly if the event space is going to be billing, you know, use City Hall parking lot during, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, it's just not going to work.
Not gonna work,
You know,
yeah.
it's not going to work. It's
But
going
the
to be full of
weekend
cars.
nights, the weekend nights.
But on the weekend nights,
Yes.
certainly it's open, it's available. And, if council should so choose, I mean, you could certainly have some kind of agreement, but I think it's public parking
Well, if we're
right now.
going to make an agreement with him that would include him paying rent, we would need to make that agreement now, I believe, before we grant this conditional use. Otherwise, we'd have no leverage in the negotiation. I'm not saying that it need to be a money-making thing. And also understand there's 2 weekends a year where the high school booster clubs use all the city hall designated, the 2 weekends of State Fair. Those parking lots are spoken for already, so.
Yeah, those things will all have to be, with the booster club events and the parking back there at Indian Fair, I mean, that will all have to be, Wally will have to pivot and work out
Well, but again, if
other
we're,
arrangements during that time.
if we're gonna have an agreement, I think either way, we need to have an agreement with him to indemnify the city from his use of our city parking lot. But then, if there's gonna be some sort of payment, that, I believe that would need to be negotiated right now. Because we do rent other parking in the downtown, like we said, the post office rents a parking lot, 44 parking spaces. The post office in Noble rents. It's not a lot of money, but it's still an agreement, because, we maintain these parking lots, we pave them, it looks like a beautiful plan. Mr. Holtz has been doing a great job, I think, at the deco. It looks nice.
Yeah. I think, the parking downtown is free.
Yes.
But if you want to park overnight, then there's a permit fee.
Permit, yeah.
So, I mean, that's the way we're envisioning this, and I think our city attorney may want to speak to this, but
Well, that
the planning
overnight
commission.
parking is a different
yeah.
issue. I'm just talking about, I'm thinking typically on a weekend night. And I know when I drove here tonight at 6 o'clock, Greenfield Avenue was parked up already on a Tuesday in January. So I'm
What is that,
just
council?
concerned, the previous uses were retail, okay? Retail had a couple of employees and then maybe 10, 15 customers in there at a time when it was Sears or that furniture store or whatever. When you're talking about a capacity of 299 people, and let's just say it's 200, what it is on a Saturday night. And as much as you can say we have parking down Greenfield Avenue, I think they will be parking on 76th Street and on 75th Street.
Sure.
And
Yeah, they could.
with our even odd parking regs, there will be times when the neighbors won't find, when they go to bed at 10 o'clock after the news, their street's gonna be parked up, and they won't be able to find a spot to park their car, on the appropriate side of the street before they go to bed, so.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Holt, the benefit of this is that, he does also run the deco at
Yeah,
71st and Greenfield.
Yeah.
And, based on his experience there, he's indicating that a number of people do use rideshare. For weddings, sometimes it's close to 50%. For corporate events, maybe more like 25%.
So there's 100 cars
yeah.
here then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are just my questions. Again, and I guess the city attorney is here, maybe he can answer better. If we're gonna have a contract for him to rent our parking, I think that deal needs to be made before we approve this conditional use.
Mr.
Thank
Mayor?
you.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Attorney Decker?
Sure. So because the parking lot is controlled by the city already, without an agreement in place, the council could just change the rules at any point in time. So that truly is the leverage point. Even if it's approved today, there still is a leverage point for the city to work out an agreement with Mr. Holtz on a later date. Otherwise, the council could just change the rules for parking and ban it. So there is no need, from my perspective, to get an agreement under terms today. The council could move forward on this and still have plenty of opportunity to come up with an agreement later on.
Yeah, but if we Mr. Mayor, if I may continue.
Go ahead.
If we allow him to say, welcome to, open up, and you can use City Hall parking lot, and then at a later date, we decide that's not working out, I don't know, damage to the parking lot, whatever. And we say, nope, sorry, there's strict enforcement, no parking in the City Hall parking lot. We're just gonna push all of his patrons into the neighborhoods then. So if we approve this with these numbers, so,
Without any further conditions upon it, yes.
yeah.
If you wish to add the condition that there's an agreement in place with the city, you can do so as well.
So then, if we were to do that, and then at a later date cancel the agreement, we'd be shutting down his business,
Effectively, yes.
effectively, yes.
Because the state law does allow the council to put a duration on a conditional use permit, and that would just be the duration.
Okay, but then the nature of his business is that his events are booked out, probably weddings are a year in advance, I imagine. We'd be ruining a lot of people's parties if we were put in that position.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor-
Any
Mayor
other
Devine?
questions from the council?
Mayor Devine?
Alderperson Grisham.
I'm in agreement with Alderman Weigel. I think that if we take the second approach that Attorney Decker recommended, whether it be nominal or not, there would be fees and costs to signage and other things that will be added to the issue. But would this in any way set precedent to the fact that we have restrictions for businesses using lots and streets for business? Wouldn't this coincide with that to some degree and kind of set a precedent for other businesses that if they so chose to shuttle people and park there, they could? Or that's a stretch, but I would think that there should be an agreement in advance of this rather than later. Thank you.
Thank you.
But I do have that question, if it made sense to you. Okay.
Sure. So, Mr. Mayor, there are several parking lots that are under exclusive agreements with the city, for which the benefactor of those agreements pays rent to the city. There are also agreements in which there's non-exclusive use of parking lots, which are also paid just at a lower rate. So it'd be up to the council to decide if this is an exclusive agreement or non-exclusive agreement. You have to decide on the terms of that agreement, specific dates that might be excluded, the rent rate, everything like that would have to still be negotiated, but it could be.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council? All right, seeing none, are there any questions or comments from the members of the audience on public hearing number 3? If there are, I ask that you please come up to the podium and turn on the microphone, and please give us your name and address for the official record.
I'm Walter Holtz. Just a couple quick things. As far as, we have verbal agreements with the DECO as far as a la carte, gets the outdoor space with a la carte, with the bid, and the bid gets it with the car show. So there's some unwritten things that we have a relationship where we both respect one another, and I think that's kind of what we would be doing also at this property. Keep in mind that whether it's an event space or what it is, you have a 10,000 square foot property, and you got to get parking somewhere. So not only are we making a huge investment to the city, and you can tell people all day long to park across the street, whether it's an event business or what it is, but they're going to park where they're going to park at the end of the day. So I just want to let that be clear. And then also, you had a question as far as, we'll have about 7 full-time employees and about 4 part-time employees. And those employees are going to be instructed to park at the DECO. So, and then also what we're going to be doing is, we're going to be having on anything, our average party is more or less about 110 to 160, but anything over 200, we're going to provide a shuttle system, even if it's not provided by a particular hotel or what have you. But most of, especially when it comes to weddings, people just, we're seeing 50% plus that are doing the Uber or doing this and that. So, I mean, yeah, you might have a little bit of parking in some quote-unquote neighborhoods, but that's not what we're going to be focusing on. We're going to be focusing on those back lots and trying to utilize as much as that. But at the end of the day, you have a large property that's changed hands half a dozen times, and you have 10,000 square feet, so whether it's me or somebody else or whoever it may be, you're gonna have to park somewhere there. So I just wanted to let it said that we're gonna be watching that, and not only that, we want the city, if any cars, we haven't had any problem with cars being left overnight, but we would abide that anything left in the city parking lot should be either ticketed or towed or anything like that. And then also, we're gonna have our staff members check that, at the end of the night to make sure that there's no rubbish left behind. So kind of like what we do with South 72nd Street. So we're gonna be very in tune with it. We're not just gonna say, oh, park behind there, don't worry about it. So we're gonna respect what we're, either given or not given. So I just wanted to let that be known. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks.
Hi, I'm John Johnson. I own that building right next door to where the Emerald wants to be. It was vacant for 13 years. Me and my wife moved in there, cleaned it up. Now it's a tattoo shop for 3 years. We've been having great business and a great experience in West Dallas. Since we got there, we've had problems with parking, like major problems with parking. The furniture store was never completely like boisterous. There wasn't a lot of customers there, but when they did have their sales, we had nowhere to park. My customers stay on average of 2 to 3 hours, right? So, and then next door we have Papa John's. Their customers come and go, 5 minutes a piece, whatever. And then on the other side of that parking lot is Perspective Brewery. They're just opening, young couple. They have customers, they have events. Between the three of us, even, we have issues with the parking lot. Now, normally I wouldn't care about this, but I pay for this parking lot. It's a private parking lot. I have had to leave my space of tattooing, go outside, find out who's parked where, and have them removed, or at least try to, or just pray that they believe, so my customers can park within the lot that I pay for every year. Also, I live on 7210, right next door to the Deco. I also experienced parking issues there. I bought a municipal sticker so I can park behind there, and sometimes there's no parking there either. Like, I never see rideshare, and if you say they say they have 600 on that side of the street, which is crazy because I never have anywhere to park. Like, I literally have to park way behind my own building, walk all the way up, and then hope that I can have space the next morning. Like, it's just, like, between the 4 event spaces within the 3-block radius here, that's a little redundant. And I'm not sure if there's that much, like, people are, like, clamoring for event spaces because there's, like, 2 more small ones who come and go, but how many more do we need? And if we need that many, well, let's make more parking lots because they're gonna use my parking space. I pay for these parking spaces. I can't stop everybody from parking in my lot. And this has become very obvious. And I just wanna work, I wanna pay my rent, I wanna just enjoy what West Dallas has to offer, but this is impossible. This is becoming more and more impossible. And I would probably be more optimistic if I didn't live next door to the Deco and already became a victim of not being able to park. There's a whole beer garden where there was a whole street for parking. That's gone. I wonder where these parking spaces are gonna come from. Like, I'm seriously wondering. I don't know if it's gonna grow out of the ground or something, but I'm very confused. And we spent a lot of money. We're open every day. So between 8 a.m. to 2 in the morning, you mean to tell me people are gonna pull up, dress nice to go to this event, and they're gonna walk 5 minutes? Absolutely not. I don't know anybody here who would do that. I wouldn't do that personally, especially if you're going to an event. It just doesn't happen. Rideshare, like, yeah, let me take an Uber. Like, come on, it's preposterous. I just wanted to say this because this is my main concern. We've been thinking about this since it's become public, the information. I just didn't hear anything that made me feel a little bit better about this idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Amy Johnson. My address is 7210 West Greenfield. Piggybacking off of what my husband was saying, our concern is with the parking lots. or parking in general. And with the experience of having our private lot at Inkwell, what I know is that if someone trips and falls in our parking lot, we're like liable for that. Like we have to cover certain things. So my concern would be if people are using City Hall's parking lot, if someone gets into an accident or someone drunkenly falls over and hurts themselves, who's responsible for that case? Also, the Deco on their website says they have 600 slots for parking. I have problems parking there, and I haven't even seen 600 people in there. So that's also a concern. Let's see. Yeah, and with the concern of the time frame of them being open, our shop is open every day from 12 to 8. We are appointment only, but we're pretty busy, thankfully. And my concern is that outside of those business hours, we have nobody to police our parking lot. So I don't know who's gonna be parking in our lot between 8:30 a.m. and noon, and then after we close, after 8 o'clock. I don't want a bunch of drunk people loitering around my business. I know they might be like, oh, cool, a tattoo shop, let's get some tattoos, but that's not the type of business that I want, personally. So my concern is with the types of people that'll be hanging around, when they'll be hanging around, how long they'll be around, where their cars will be, and the parking. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Amy Rose Murphy, 1520 South 76th Street. There is a need for venues. However, I don't think downtown West Dallas is it. Living where I live, we purchased this house knowing the things we'd have to sacrifice during the state fair, knowing the different situations, and we were okay with that. When the Deco is busy, and one example would be, and thank you, I do appreciate what you do for the community. My son plays football at Hale. You hosted a great banquet. It was lovely. But let me tell you, people were parking all the way by our house in the rain, sleet, rain, running down there. And when the Deco is busy, and when I was running my campaign, people complain about the added parking. It's already tight. Now you're gonna add a second venue. That night, that was a weeknight. That was a weeknight, and I think everybody drove, including teenage kids, so that was fun. But I just think having a second venue there is going to be a problem, because what if they both have venues on this, events on the same night? Okay, what if they have events the same night during state fair? Like, I would love to see something in that space. I just don't know that another venue is it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments from the public on public hearing number 3?
I just want to make one more comment.
Sure.
For whatever it's worth, I know our hours say 8:30 till 2:30 a.m., but the Deco in 17 months, we've never held an event that started until after 5 o'clock. We simply have that in there in case we get some kind of corporate thing or something like that to cover ourselves. But I don't want for any moment to think the tattoo shop that he says, what type of people? Well, first off, the type of people that are coming to our venues are generally pretty upscale people. And we've never to date even held an event at 8:39 in the morning, much less 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So their business isn't going to be affected whatsoever as far as I'm concerned. And as far as the young lady on the during the week venue that she's talking about with the football, that was a 350 person event. We've had 2 of those in 19 months. So like I said, most of our events are right in that 125 to 200 people. That was a 350 person event. It was during the week, it was raining, but we've had 2 of those in 17 months. So it's not something that's happening repetitively. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. And we're not hosting events and people hogging up spots. That's the one nice thing about our business is, especially with the agreement with the city hall, is we're literally not going to be affecting any of those spaces during business hours. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Okay. Thank you. Any other public comments on public hearing number 3? Go ahead.
It's me again. I just left, but I'm back. So here's the thing. The Deco has alcohol. After a certain time, people drink. 2:30, those people don't really care as much as the people at 5 in the evening, let's be honest. I'm a business owner. I've come back to my business. I've had trash in front of it. I clean it up. I do everything that every business owner should do just to keep the representation that West Allis sees fit. I live next door to the Deco, right next door. There is no parking. And he says we had one 300-person event. You don't open a business so you can just have one of those. You open a business so you can have more of those, and eventually you will. And eventually this will be out of your hands to where you just don't care and it's not a big problem. Now, if I opened up a business right next door to his personal house and then said, oh, there won't be a parking issue, he'd be standing right here telling me what I'm telling him right now. This is not fair, not only to the business owners, but also to the other people who live in this radius and people who live outside this radius who have no idea that this meeting is happening right now. They're gonna come home, there's gonna be nowhere to park, and as you may say, these are upscale corporate people like to drink too, and people love tattoo shops and they love to see things, and I don't want those people occupying my space, because the problem with that is after hours, I can't keep an eye on my business 2 o'clock in the morning. Nobody can. It's impossible. You can't guarantee that those people will not do whatever drunk people do 2 o'clock in the morning. And if those are your business hours, those are the hours you would be open. Just because it happened once don't mean it's not gonna keep happening. Him coming up here and reiterating what everybody else said with our concerns changed absolutely nothing. Because I've been here for 3 years and I still have parking issues at my establishment. And now with the Deco, and it's 8 a.m. to 2 o'clock in the morning, like space, I'm gonna have nowhere to park. And I'm gonna go home and I have nowhere to park either. So what's wrong with the Deco and the Emerald? What if they're both busy? Then what? Y'all won't have parking. There'll be no municipal parking. Nobody be able to park. We'll all be doing ride share. We'll do the ride share. That's what's gonna happen. It's not gonna be them and their customers, it's gonna be us. I think it's unfair. If I was able to buy a whole city block, I probably would have, but I didn't know any better. So now I'm just here just to say that I'm starkly against this idea. My customers deserve somewhere to park, and so do we. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on public hearing number 3? All right, seeing none, we will close our third and final public hearing. Thank you, everybody. We will move on to Part E, which is public participation. The council here can receive information from members of the public during this 30-minute period. Similar format, each speaker must announce their name and address, sign in at the podium now, and limit your comments to one statement of no more than 5 minutes. The council cannot take action on topics raised by the speakers, nor can they discuss topics with the speakers. Does anybody wish to address the council under public participation this evening? Please approach the microphone.
Hi, my name is Meg Morgan at 2433 South 118th Street. I just wanted to come before you post all of the excitement with taxes. As we've moved here in 2020, I have 3 small children. I currently homeschool all of them. But I have a couple of questions. I realize you guys can't answer them, but I just wanted to plant the seeds in your head to be thinking about them. I was disappointed that the communication wasn't better. I know you guys had the special council meeting on April 23rd in 2024, which had a helpful presentation, but I had to watch it later because I didn't know it was happening. I see in the budget report through the assessor's page that it says, the next phase of this comprehensive assessment of real estate values includes a citywide property inspection program to update property records to ensure fair and equitable property assessments. This property inspection program will take several years to complete and will require additional staffing for it to be completed successfully and within a reasonable time frame. my questions that I'm thinking about is, what does this program and assessment look like? What are the tax implications? Will there be an increase, especially with the school referendum not being on the taxes this year, but in the following year? Additionally, I know that the sweet spot is at 90% to 110% assessment value. My taxes went up 48%, over $4,000. Our assessment value doubled, more than doubled. And right now, if I look at my average assessment ratio, I'm at 87.59%. That's this year post the assessment. We're supposed to be in the 90 to 110%. So why am I not in range yet? And if I'm not in range and I'm still at the low range, are there other tax implications coming down the line? And the other thing I would just think about is just the budgeting. I know that we've had 2020. I know that there are things that we could never have predicted. But you know, a lot of this came from also not having the budget for the assessment office and having the staff for it. So how do we look forward to make sure that going forward that need is met so that we're not doing another assessment before we are way back on that sweet spot of the ratio and having the DOR come in? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello again. My name is Lynn Gunderson, and I live at 1716 South 72nd Street in West Dallas. I went online because I saw that there's a proposal for a tavern license, a Class B tavern's license application for the T42 located at 1825 South 72nd Street, formerly the West Stallion Brewery. I am a lifelong resident of 65 years in my home since birth, and my mother of 90 years lived there also until her time of death. We have seen many changes in the neighborhood, some good, some bad. There's a lot of history with the neighbors, and many have also lived there for 20+ years. So on behalf of the neighborhood, I am here representing all of them. I do not want another tavern, pub, or whatever you want to call it. In the past, I have petitioned, and I have my records here, 2 different bar owners who request other needs, and to say that they are not here no more. I see that there is no public hearing on this matter, or I can guarantee you I would be knocking on some doors. My neighbors 90% know me, and we all look out for each other. We have exchanged phone numbers, and we let each other know what's going on. It's called see something, say something, and we do something, block watch. Getting back to the license application, it's a no-go for us. This new business is something we don't need or want in our residential area. First of all, we all have enough bars in the area, 5 in a row to pick from. Tap City, Boar's Den, Bronze, Studs, and Ope. That should be a limit to how many liquor licenses the city should allow. Second, no business parking, only streets, which would plug up for the people who live there. Third, bartenders don't know when to cut a person off, thinking their tip will be cut off too. Fourth, the promises. We are going to do this, we are going to do that. And on the day comes in summer, they hang a basket and call it a day. If only these owners lived on site to see what really happens, and many of these bars do have living quarters above. If I can go around and get neighbors' signatures to say no, don't you think they should do the same to get their yes? I want to continue living in West Dallas the remainder of my life, but I don't need any more disruptions. In closing, thank you for your time. Please consider what I want in our neighborhood, not what they want. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
am Barbara Dahlgren, 1928 South 56th Street. I'm mostly up here because I promised Mr. Turner I'd come up the next time I was here. It's not so much an urgent matter as it is a small thing that could really improve this city. There's hundreds of people who are interested in being able to keep chickens in West Allis. People in Milwaukee and pretty much every city around can keep chickens. For some reason, there's an ordinance against them in West Allis, which could simply just, cross out the word chicken and give people a lot more freedom. And there are several reasons that it would be great to do this. One is that in the summertime, this city is one of the hottest because it is so paved over. And any way that we can shorten that farm-to-table experience, shorten the distance between from our food to our plates is great. Chickens make compost. This city is actually very good at allowing compost so that people can have really excellent gardens here, but we can really step it up a little bit by allowing chickens. And people are really being squeezed with basics like housing, as we hear today, and food. Food prices just keep going up and up. And it's great that we have the resources here already that we do, but just crossing out one word in that city code could really help us out a lot. So I'm here to plant that seed in your mind today, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
Again, Amy Rose Murphy, 1520 South 76th Street. I too am here about chickens. Our city often follows Milwaukee's lead on innovative initiatives, whether it's pedestrian traffic solutions, scooters or bike rentals, median flower gardens, or other progressive policies. Let's extend that practice by following the footsteps to allow backyard chickens, an ordinance that promotes sustainability, food security, and community empowerment. By implementing clear guidelines for coop construction, maintenance, and food storage, our city can ensure that backyard chicken keeping is both safe and sanitary. For example, Milwaukee requires residents to submit a site plan and pay a permit fee to keep up four hens. The system includes notifying neighbors and adhering to coop design standards. Inducing a similar system in West Allis could generate additional revenue through fees, which would support the administration and enforcement of the program. Using rodent-proof food storage containers, treadle feeders, and promptly cleaning up spilled feed and waste minimizes any pest attraction. Elevating coops, securing them with predator-proof locks and hardware cloth prevents access by these unwanted pests that people seem to think that chickens will attract. Additional measures such as motion-activated lights, natural deterrents like predator scents, certain herbs and plants, and regular maintenance further ensure that coops remain pest-free. These precautions create an inhospitable environment for pests, significantly reducing their presence. With these measures in place, chickens are no more likely to attract pests than other household pets. In fact, they can even help mitigate pest issues by consuming insects and reducing food waste that might otherwise attract rodents. Allowing families to keep backyard chickens empowers them in feeding their family, producing fresh, high-quality eggs, offering a consistent and reliable source of protein, and some chicken breeds actually are prolific egg layers, and they'll produce eggs every single day. So some people seem to think they only produce once a week, but it depends on the type that you have. In the face of rising food costs, this would prevent accessible and sustainable ways to enhance food security for West Allis residents. Eggs from backyard chickens often are healthier and fresher and free from preservatives and additives that are commonly found in the chickens that produce store-bought eggs. And that would just support a nutritious diet. By proactively adopting an ordinance that permits residents to keep a limited number of hens, West Allis can stay ahead of potential state-level legislation. This allows our city to craft guidelines, meet our community's unique needs and preferences, rather than being subjected to a one-size-fits-all state mandate. I urge the council to consider adopting this policy as a part of West Allis's forward-thinking approach to community needs. Let's seize this opportunity to embrace this sustainable living practice and honor the tradition of our community roots, where keeping backyard chickens was once a commonplace for many West Allis families. So thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to participate in public participation this evening?
Good evening. Name is Hoffman. I live on 86th and Washington. I moved to West Allis in 1971 after I just got married. And would you believe it, I moved to West Allis because of low taxes. To my horror, when I got my tax bill this year, my taxes went up $1,200. I raised my family in West Allis. I had 2 sons. They went to West Allis schools. They're gone now. I'm retired now. I live on a fixed income. And if I have another increase of my taxes of $1,200, I don't know if I'll be able to live in West Allis anymore. Why is it that the tax bills forcing retired people out of the community? It's getting to the point where you cannot afford to live in West Allis anymore. Why is that, Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Hoffman, as I said at the beginning, we cannot engage with speakers during this portion because of possibly violating open meetings laws, but I'd be happy to talk to you afterwards, or if you want to call me at the office, I'd be happy to have that discussion.
I just want I heard a lot of other people complaining. I don't know if they're here or not, but it was quite of a surprise to me when I got this tax bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the council under public participation this evening? All right, we will close public participation and we will move on to item F. Our standing committees will be meeting during recess. So if you are here for a license or a permit or some item that is on the agenda, please take a look at the top of page 2 of your agendas, or see one of us afterwards when we break for recess, so we can make sure that you get into the right room for the item that you're here for. Item G is, I do not have anything for the mayor's report this evening, so we will go right to item H. Are there any reports from the alderpersons? All right, seeing none, we'll move to item I.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Haas.
I move for approval of the December 10th, 2024 Common Council minutes.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. If there are no corrections to the minutes, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, the minutes are approved. We have no standing committee reports under item J.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Haas.
Do any council members wish for separate action on any of the items within item K, our consent agenda? Then, seeing none, I move for approval of item K, our consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. If there is no discussion, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Novak.
Aye.
Noling. Aye. Roach.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Grove.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Helverson.
Aye.
Keen. Aye. 10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries.
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Haas.
I move that the Common Council stand in recess until the conclusion of our committee meetings.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All right. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, we are in recess.
you.
I think they're gonna need
5 members are here. Start out with, well, it's the only item 64, Resolution 2025-0000, resolution to confirm and adopt the report of the city engineer containing the schedule of proposed assessments for improvements of various streets by concrete reconstruction.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Okay, thank you.
First
Going
one,
to call to order our Public Safety Committee meeting. Let the record reflect that all 5 committee members are here, and a Happy New Year to you all. We'll start with item 71, 2024-1116, new operator's license for bartender's Class D operator application for Anthony Ferguson. Is Mr. Ferguson here?
Yes.
Please come forward. Hi, Mr. Ferguson. You're here for a bartender's license. Okay, and we have a local DOT and works report that is given to us. And there were some concerns with the history on that, as far as you have 3 separate OWIs, if I'm correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you have a couple other things that are on here. But when we have OWIs or anything that could be substantially related to the licensing activity, we want to hear from you, and that's why you're here. So with that being said, I'm going to start out with a couple questions. The first one is, are you currently working at a bar in West Allis?
Not at this moment.
Okay. Are you planning to be an underemployee in West Allis?
Yes, I would like to be.
Okay.
And one of the issues that I'm running into is that I've had many years of food industry, and I'm in management also. So a lot of times what happens is that it's been inhibiting me from getting a job because I'd be managing without a license. So they want a manager to be in the building, because we're always there a manager's always there at all times. So they want the manager to have a license in case of call-ins, in case of, just family issues and things like that. So it's limiting some of the advancement that I have the opportunity to do, obviously, due to the record that I've had. I have not had, my last DUI would be 10 years after February 10th, I believe. So it's been 10 years since I have had any of these issues. And I've turned my life around because of those things. It's been a major problem when it comes to advancements in the food industry, and learned a lot during those situations and how detrimental it was. I did take 6 months worth of classes with the Waukesha County Behavioral Health, and I learned a lot more from them than you do from like the server class that you take in order to get a bartending license. So things that, how it affects your body, things that will early on, signs of impairment. I've had to in the past cut people off. I've had to find rideshare services for customers. I've had to offer food to those to give them, the opportunity and find options for them to get safe rides home. Being a part of the community, I'm now right outside of West Allis. My family is in New Berlin. I went to West Allis Hale myself. I want to be a positive contribution to the community. So, and one of these things that is stopping me from advancing my career is basically having the operator's license.
Okay. I thank you for sharing your experience with us, because one of the major things that we were concerned about and are concerned about is that you're going to follow the letter of the law, and that you've learned from your mistakes. And there's been a good amount of time between, your last OWI, which was recorded in 2015. Biggest concern with that too, in addition to that, is there seemed to have been some sort of firearm involved in that.
Yeah, firearm was in the vehicle at the time.
Okay.
And with that being said, even the Attorney General has reissued my concealing carry permit.
Okay.
After years of proving to them that I have changed my life around.
Okay.
Just real quick, I do have the documents for the Waukesha County Behavioral Health if you need them. And then I also do have the copies of my conceal and carry, which has been there for over 8 years now.
Okay, I appreciate that. I do not have any further questions. Do any of the other committee members have any questions?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Alderman Haas.
Yeah, and Mr. Ferguson, one thing I want to share with you is it used to be on this committee, there was a bright letter, black and white test. If you had 3 DWIs, you were not getting a license from this committee. And that is where you stand currently. And admittedly, just as you had indicated, the last DWI or OWI, that was 10 years ago, and going on almost 20 years ago for the earlier ones. I think that you've explained to us what we need to know, that you have shown rehabilitation, that you are going to you're going to be a good operator, and that's what we need. Somebody who's going to follow the law, someone, if there's an issue, to call the police. If you're ever in a situation where you're thinking, should I or should I not call the police? The answer is always call the police, okay? And then be a good witness and assist police whenever there's an issue. So yeah, I move approval, Madam Chair.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, Council.
And thank you.
Do you need any of the documentation?
No.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, moving right along, we have item 72, 2024, 1279, new operator's license bartender Class D operator application for Jessica Sobzinski. Jessica, hi, how are you? I'm doing very well. You heard the drill. You were here, and this is one of the things that we need to review, is there's also some things on your record that raised a red flag. One of the items was an OWI offense?
The OWI was dropped.
Okay. And was that reduced to a negligent operation of motor vehicle?
I believe so.
Okay. Now, this dates back to 2006.
19 years on Thursday.
And your driver's license status right now is valid, so I would assume that you went through everything you needed to, and we have a lot of time between 206 and current, so I don't really have any questions of the applicant, to be honest with you. Do any of the other committee members have any questions? No? Okay, you heard the same thing that Alderman Haas had said. We want to make sure that you're doing the right things, that you're cooperating with police. If there's a problem with the establishment, you're going to be the first to call. Other than that, does anybody want to make a motion?
I move approval.
Okay. There's a motion and a second by Alderman Halverson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, we have item 73, 2024, 1280. New operator's license, bartender Class D operator application for Casey Jupp. Jupp, thank you. Ms. Jupp, thank you for coming in. I'm looking at this report, and it made me very concerned right out of the gates. There is a history of law violations that date back from 2017 to 2024 that demonstrates to me personally, and it begins with an OWI, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 charges on your record. And I'm not in the position, to even be honest with you, to grant this. I want to know if you have anything to say and what you've done for any amount of rehabilitation that can show this council that you are a law-abiding citizen, whether that be not drinking and driving, being responsible for other people, and following the law after you've lost your driver's license even. Because I see a lot of these are operating while suspended. And, oh, there's a second OWI that you have in 2023,
Yeah.
so it's not dated that far back. So can you offer any explanation or anything within reason that we could consider?
All the classes that I was supposed to for both ODYs, and then I did a year of probation for the second ODY. They had me on a breathalyzer, and I never tested negative. I never slipped up my probation. I haven't had any drinking incidences at all ever since the second one, and any in between. Besides driving, my record is clean. It's driving.
And how do you explain that as just driving? Because there's laws that go around driving. I mean, we have stop signs, we have, you know, so to me, it's not just driving. That shows an example, to me personally, that you disregard rules or laws. And I can't, with good conscience, say, okay, I'm going to vote to approve a license and expect you to think that it was just another drink. It was just a bar fight. There's too many just in that. So what can you say beyond what you just said, besides it's just driving, to convince us or at least prove that you've had some rehabilitation? Because that statement didn't show me that you did.
I've been working at the bar for about a month now, since I first filed to get the license, and there have been 2 incidences where I've had to call the police, and or someone had me to drunk back home, and I called an Uber or a Lyft. I've tried to do everything to change. I mean, I had 3 kids. I've been trying to work and just stay on track.
Where do you currently work?
It's called the bar.
So you work at the bar? Is this a full-time job or a part-time?
Right now, it's part-time.
Okay. Do you have any other employment?
No, I'm also in school,
Okay. What are you going to school for?
nursing.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Please, Alderman Haas.
Yeah, and so you don't have a driver's license currently, it's an ID only. What is the barrier for you getting your driver's license reinstated? What have you done to work on that? Tell us about that.
I've done everything to get my license. I'm allowed to get my license right now, but because I can't afford the insurance, they want me to have proof of insurance till 2027, and the insurance it's really, really high. But if I could bring it into DMV, they would approve me to get my license.
Yeah, you need the SR22 insurance?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Are there any stipulations on that license, such as like intoxilizer or anything that needed to be placed on the vehicle?
I think for the first 6 months, yes.
So that would be an interlock that you'd have to have for this first 6 months, and that's at the date of you receiving your license. So it could be years from now, or it could be tomorrow. Okay. All right, I don't have any further questions.
Madam Chair?
Please, Alderman.
How did you get here tonight?
I Uber.
Anyone else? No. Okay. Is there a motion?
Motion to deny.
Okay.
Second.
And what would that be based on, Alderman?
Based on previous issues in terms of local arrests and driving.
Okay, so driving record?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so there's a motion and a second by Alderman Rote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So is there, anybody approve? Okay, so it's all in favor, it's denied.
Is there a way to, that's just it?
Yeah, that's just it. You can reapply in did we change that to a 12-month, from a 12-month period to 6 months?
She can reapply tomorrow if she wants.
Okay.
She'd be coming back to the committee again.
Okay, yeah. So I think personally, you need to figure out how to abide by the law. This is a habitual nature. So,
All right, thank you.
thank you for coming. I got tongue-tied on that, I apologize. Okay, item 74, 2024-1281, new operator's license, bartender Class D operator application for Eric Vargas Almeida. Did I pronounce that correctly, Mr. Almeida? Thank you for coming. Let me make sure I get to where you're to be. Same thing, you heard what we discussed. The only thing that I see currently is this right, with the 2024 vehicle failure to stop? Is that all we have on this?
Right, well, I think that Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, please.
Yeah, the issue we have is, on the report says vehicle owner's liability for failure to stop. I think that's failure to stop for the police versus failure to stop for a stop sign.
Actually, traffic light.
Or, okay, yeah, tell us about it, because you know the situation better than we do. Please explain it to us.
I couldn't stop. We hit, he ran, and I went to, but I was so nervous, so I parked in the wrong side of the street, because at that point I was like, okay, I need to fix the car, everything, and that was it.
Okay, so
But then they took my car. I did everything that they said. I paid for everything, and that was it.
okay, yeah.
We didn't stop for an accident. There was an accident?
We crashed, but we stopped. Then he got, and I left too.
Okay, so it wasn't, so vehicle owner's liability failure to stop, is that the same as a hit and run? I wouldn't, no.
I would assume
Okay, so it's not, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, I'm on a roll here, Madam Chair.
You
if
are,
don't
go right
mind.
ahead.
All right. So, yeah, the concern that our committee has, and you've heard us say that this to other applicants too, is we need you to obey the law. And we need you to work with police. And, yeah, failure to stop at an accident scene, that's an indication. And this is very recent, just in the last 12 months, that you didn't obey the law. I want you to explain to us how you're going to you're going to obey the law, you're going to follow the rules.
I will.
Okay.
If I need to call the police, I know that I have to call the police. At the moment I am working as a waiter, so one of the requirements to get promoted is to get the license.
Okay.
Where are you currently working?
Las Cazuelas, with a new restaurant they just opened 4 months ago.
Cazuelas.
So I am working with them.
Okay. All right, I think Alderman Haas hit all the bullet points that are important. Is there any other questions? Okay. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, there's a
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right, item 75, 2025, 0022, new operator's license, bartender Class D operator application for Venetia Lucas. Is Ms. Lucas here? Please come forward. Hi, Ms. Lucas, how are you? I'm doing well. You heard what we had discussed with other applicants. There's multiple things that have come up on your record as well, and we'd like to know what you've learned by that and how you're going to take this into bartending and abiding by laws and doing what you need to do.
What was the multiple things? I know there's a, probably, I know earlier,
Would you like me to read them aloud to you?
that's fine.
Okay, 2021 battery assault citation, 2022 speeding, 2022 unregistered vehicle, and 2023 operating while suspended. So there's 4 different things that are on the report that came up.
Okay. The unregistered vehicle, I don't know, that's weird. Cause I always register my vehicle, I always have the stickers. I don't know, I did co-sign for my brother, so I'm not sure if that's one of the things or not.
Okay, well, if I may say, just as you had heard with other applicants, we're looking to know that you are going to make good decisions, that you are going to follow the laws, that you are going to call the police when you need to, just as Alderman Haas has been so eloquently explaining. Obviously, the battery and assault citation, I looked at that, and we want to make sure that, like I said, you're just following the letter of the law. I don't see anything that actually substantially could relate to the licensing activity, so therefore I'll make a motion to approve.
A second?
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Now, we have item 76, 2025-0031, summons and complaint against Super Bottle LLC doing business as Super Bottle, 1357 South 76, agent Rupinderjeet Singh. I said it right. How are you today? Okay. Mr. Singh, this opportunity for you is to admit or deny your charges. There's something that I'm going to read out to you so that you are clear on our position as the committee. So, the West Dallas Common Council to Super Bottle LLC by licensing agent Runderjeet Singh, you are hereby notified that a sworn complaint, a copy of which is attached, has been duly made and filed, requesting a hearing on suspension or revocation of the 2024-2025 Class A liquor and beer license issued under license number ALC-23-23 for the premises located at 1357 South 76th Street in the city of West Dallas, state of Wisconsin, for the license period running July 1st, 2024 and expiring on June 30th, 2025. This sworn complaint requesting a hearing for suspension or revocation of the above referred licenses or permits is brought pursuant to the provision of Wisconsin State Statute 125-12(1) and 2 and West Dallas Code 9.51 and 9.605. Now, therefore, you, Super Bottle LLC, by licensing agent Runderjeet Singh, are hereby summoned to appear before the Public Safety Committee of the City of West Dallas Common Council for the recess meeting January 24th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Therefore, as a matter may be called in room 128, or soon thereafter, as this matter can be heard to admit or deny allocations of the complaint. Do I need to continue to read this entire complaint? I didn't think so.
No, not on that part.
I
but
didn't think so.
on the
But here,
complaint
we do.
itself,
So, so I apologize that no one stopped me.
That's my fault.
That's okay. I was on a roll. I'm sorry. That's not what
we
I'm
didn't wanna
supposed to
stop
read
that.
to you. Thank you. It only took 2 pages before I figured it out. So, the complaint here is Corporal Carrie Novinska of the West Dallas Police Department being duly sworn on oath deposes and states as a complaint under Wisconsin Statute 125-12(2), a G against Super Bottle LLC doing business at Super Bottle as follows, that this complaint is based upon information contained within official records maintained by the City of West Dallas and the West Dallas Police Department that the complainant has issued in the past and found to be reliable. Parties, license, and permit information. 2, that the complainant is a resident of the City of West Dallas. 3, that Super Bottle LLC doing business as Super Bottle has been issued a Class A fermented malt beverage license and a Class A intoxicating liquor license, which have been combined under license number ALC-23-23 for the premises located at 1357 South 76th Street, state of Wisconsin, for the license period running July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. 4, that Runderjeet Singh is the agent appointed pursuant to the Wisconsin Statute 125-04-6A for license number ALC-23-23. Incidents that are subject to this complaint, there's count 1, July 30th of 2024, excuse me. That on July 30th, 2024, the West Dallas Police Department conducted alcohol compliance
Suzette, can I
checks.
stop you there?
Yes.
Okay. Now, sir, Alderwoman Grisham, the chairperson, is going to be asking you specific items here, and so I want you to listen carefully to what she says, because she's going to be asking you to either admit or deny to each of these items, starting with on this complaint, item number 5. So she'll read it out, and then we'll ask for you to either admit or deny.
And that's all we're going to do. It's an admission or a denial. We're not going to discuss, the events surrounding that unless there's an admission. If there's an admission, we can go right to a hearing and make decisions therefore and hear your part.
And that's a really good point, and I want to add on to that. You might want to explain yourself now, now's not the time. We're looking for admit or deny.
Yeah, unless you make an admission, then those points could be heard, if I'm correct on that. Yes, Alderman Huss?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what we need to discuss. You have to admit or deny on count that on July 30th, 2024, the West Dallas Police Department conducted an alcohol compliance check at several alcohol licensed establishments within the city. West Dallas Police Officer Ryan Schultz was the lead officer involved. The police department worked with a 20-year-old male identified by initials NAS, date of birth, do I have to read that out? 1/8/2004, to aid their investigation. NAS was instructed to purchase an alcoholic beverage at each business. NAS entered the Super Bottle store and purchased an alcoholic beverage from the lone employee without showing identification while he was under 21 years old. The lone employee, Taranbir Singh, confirmed to Officer Schultz that the transaction occurred and that he did not ask NAS for identification and advised he was part owner of the store. Do we go for admit or I mean, that's obviously just information.
Sure.
Okay, so on count one, do you admit or deny? Okay, so let the record reflect that there's an admission. Count two, November 11th, 2024. That on November 11th, 2024, the West Dallas Police Department conducted alcohol compliance checks at several alcohol licensed establishments within the city. West Dallas Police Officer Kevin Musadi was the lead officer involved. The police department worked with an 18-year-old female identified by initials DRM, date of birth 9/2/2006, to aid their investigation. DRM was instructed to attempt to purchase an alcoholic beverage at each business. DRM entered the Super Bottle store and purchased an alcoholic beverage from the lone employee without showing identification while she was under 21 years of age. The lone employee, Runderjeet Singh, claimed that DRM was a regular at the business. DRM had never been a customer of Super Bottle prior to this date. So violations of state law and local code, that the Class A fermented malt beverage license and Class A intoxicating liquor license issued to Super Bottle LLC is subject to suspension or revocation pursuant to the provision of the West Dallas Code 951 and 960 of the Wisconsin Statute 125-12, 2 and 1, regarding a licensee improperly selling, vending, dealing, or trafficking alcohol to an underage person not accompanied by a parent, guardian, or spouse who has attained the legal drinking age in violation Wisconsin Statute 125-07, 1A2, found in counts 1 and 2. So with that being said, we do now ask, is there an admission on second count as well? Do you admit or deny? Okay, so there's two admissions. So wherefore, Officer Carrie Novinsky requests that the license named herein Super Bottle LLC by licensing agent Runderjeet Singh be summoned to appear before the Public Safety Committee of the West Dallas Common Council to answer this complaint, and if the material allegations of the complaint are denied, that a hearing be held to determine whether licenses and permits issued to Super Bottle LLC should be revoked or suspended. With you stating that there's an admission on both counts, we have the opportunity to hear this right here and now. You may also request, well, no, we would decide as a committee, do we want to hear this now or reserve it for a new date?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'd reserve it for a new date. We're just getting the information right now as a committee. I think it's best to wait until our next council meeting and decide what course of action we wish to take at that point.
Okay. Does anybody else disagree with that or agree?
I agree.
Okay. Well then,
my first mistake. I humbly request to not cancel my license.
okay. Well, what we're going to do here, sir.
So it won't no again happen.
Right. Well, sir, what we do now as far as procedure is we're going to give you a new date to come back where we will hear what you have to say. Today was just about admitting or denying the counts against you. So we don't need to make a motion, anything like that. So I thank you for coming tonight, and you will get a date. It'll be sent to you, to the city clerk.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, it looks like I completed the agenda.
Success.
Success.
Madam
There were
Chair.
a lot of words.
You just sound winded.
I do.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you. And
Good
thanks
job.
for your help. Appreciate it.
You get it.
In 9 months. We would have that ability, I
Is there
assume.
an avenue for that?
It's just that for the first year, it would be 200.
I agree, it's a lot easier to,
Loosen it
ramp
up,
up
right,
than
then
to
rein it
pull
in.
it back,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
It's just for whatever it's worth, the fire department on that space right there with the 10,400 square feet, the recommendation on that spot is a 550 person.
Yeah, we understand that.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna move
Okay,
on
all
now
right.
to the liquor license. So the license should be the Deco Venues LLC, right? Okay. So then we're gonna need a motion to amend the application to reflect the correct entity of the Deco Venues LLC.
I move for name change approval, or to change the name as accurate.
And then are there any conditions that wanna be imposed at the principal business of the premises be a banquet hall?
That the principal use be a banquet hall, and that the name change be included and amended on that form.
So it.
What's the name of the entity?
The Deco Venues LLC.
All right, good evening. We're going to call the council back to order. And I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Novak.
Here.
Nolling. Here. Rote.
Here.
Turner.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Grisham. Here. Grove.
Here.
Haas.
Here.
Halverson.
Here.
Keen. Here. 10 present.
We have a quorum. We will start with the Public Works Committee.
The Public Works Committee adopted the one item, number 64.
Mayor Devine, I move in accordance to that lengthy report.
Working hard, Alderman Rote, working hard. Yeah. Mr. Chair, we have a motion to approve. Is there any discussion on this one item? Any questions on this one item? Comments? Okay, if there's no discussion, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Novak.
Aye.
Nolling.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Grove.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Halverson.
Aye.
Keen. Aye. 10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. Then we'll go to the Economic Development Committee.
The Economic Development Committee recommended the following. I'll read item 65 out separately.
Okay.
Approval or adoption of item 66. Grant as amended for item 67. Amend to the Decos Venues LLC as the legal entity with the conditions of it being a banquet hall. And then the agent is Higginbottom. The items 68 and 69 were denied, and number 70 was approved.
Thank you.
Mayor Devine, I move in accordance of the committee report.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there any discussion on the report from the Economic Development Committee?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel.
I didn't hear the amendments on 65.
That's separate action.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's,
It's our first meeting this year. So on items 66 through 70, any discussion? If not, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Novak.
Aye.
Nolling.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Weigel.
aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Grove.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Halverson.
Aye.
Keen.
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries, and then we'll go up to item 65.
The Economic Development Committee recommended granting approval of this item with a closure at 1 a.m. and a maximum 200-person capacity. For 12 months.
Mayor Devine, I move in accordance of that report.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion, questions on item 65?
Mayor Devine?
Yes, Alderwoman Grisham.
I'm sorry that I did not attend the meeting downstairs, but can I have an understanding why it was limited to a 200 capacity versus the, I believe it was 300 that the event space carries?
Mayor Devine, if I may. I think we wanted to test the parking issue, since that was a concern for the neighbors. Capping it at just 200 people for the first year, and if it's not a problem, then the council would revisit it at that time. He does operate another venue in the neighborhood, obviously, which has a capacity apparently in the 600-plus range. So, it didn't seem like it'd be a problem if he wanted to steer his larger events to his other venue, so.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderperson Novak.
Aye.
Nolling.
Aye.
Rote.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Grisham.
Aye.
Grove.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Halverson.
Aye.
Keen.
Aye.
10 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries, and we'll go to the Public Safety Committee.
The Public Safety Committee recommended granting of items 71 and 72, denial of item 73 based on the driving record and police report, granting items 74 and 75, and no action was taken on 76.
Mayor Devine, I move for approval of the Public Safety Committee report.
Thank you. Any discussion? And there were no split votes, correct? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, the motion carries. Alderman Haas.
Mayor Devine,
Go ahead.
I move that we adjourn until our next scheduled meeting, Tuesday, February 11th.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned.